Anyone building a new home requires a larger meter for the required sprinklers, fire sprinklers. Otherwise, they would use the same amount of water as their neighbors. Paying $80 a month versus $29 a month base rate forever is unfair. They deserve a refund. All residential homes should pay the same rate for the same amount of water used. Number 2. Vacant parcel owners pay property taxes and water standby fees, yet they are denied a meter. Pine Cove and Fern Valley sell meters and not very many. Those who have one can sell their property for full value. Those who do not have had their investments ruined. Selling a meter does not mean someone will build. It simply validates the value of their property and the taxes they pay. I support the sale of residential meters. I've also found that few people in Idlewild actually realize this board intends to recycle raw sewage water to ultimately be rerouted into Foster Lake to recharge the wells. People live here in many cases because we have clean mountain water. A recycling plant is expensive to build and maintain. Not all toxins, hormones, and antibiotics are detectable. I am not aware of a current cost-benefit analysis that has been provided for the review of the public that supports the affordability of this project. This board has incurred a debt of $700,000 plus in a grant. I think the people of Idlewild who rely on those wells that are affected should weigh in on this. Not to mention the risk of human error as evidenced by human-caused oil spills, fracking, nuclear leaks, and the like. Keep our mountain pure, drill more new wells. This plan is a very last resort in my opinion. Steve Kunkel and June Rockwell won the last election handily. They are met with resistance at every turn. Have there been closed sessions regarding Director Kunkel? And if so, were actions and decisions taken at those meetings? And if so, where were the results of said meetings published? If not, I ask the board to please explain why not. Steve is the only member of the board that holds 3 current state water certificates. He's also a licensed plumber. He asks tough questions and does not get timely replies. His knowledge is valuable as he was a district employee for almost 29 years. Next item, give the new community center the required will serve letters to move forward. It benefits recreation as well as a place to shelter in a disaster. Next item, does the general manager have the required state water treatment certification yet? It was a condition of his hire 2 years ago. Can the board confirm compliance? I called and Tom Lynch returned my call from Mr. Freitas and denied me a tour of the district facilities, stating security issues. Others have had this tour. I want one as well. It should be available to all in the district. There is apparently a hazmat issue at the ponds, is what I am told. I think the community has a right to know what it is and what is being done about it. I have heard that the U.S. Forest Service is involved. Was any general manager remiss in the monitoring of this operation? Was their equipment inspected by appropriate trained professionals on a regular basis for maintenance? Tell us that, please. Mr. Billman will not meet with me, nor Mr. Freitas. Mr. Freitas will not answer my question as to where he lives full-time. Due to the lack of transparency and the clear intention of the voters, I am requesting that Directors Billman, Cook, and Freitas resign from this board and make room for a more friendly and transparent board as the town appears to desire. If they do not, perhaps a recall campaign should be initiated. Directors Rockwell and Kunkel take no pay and perform this duty as a service to the community. The others get $100 per meeting and per committee meeting to sit there and dictate economic policy, which is not their job.
Vic, you're run out of time.
The other water districts get half the fee and the fire commissioners get no fee. This is community service, Mr. Cook. Please consider these points.
Okay, thank you for wrapping that up and getting a lot done in 4 minutes. You did a good job on it. Now the public comments, which we have.
And you didn't.
We have begun that process.
You haven't addressed any.
We have begun the process. Okay.
You haven't addressed those.
You're not going to. And as far as Tom saying, the water not going to Foster Lake.
I'm going to have you excused.
Answer the question.
That's an easy answer.
I watched
Hold still.
Jim Billman say that it was going to Foster Lake.
Come on, that's it. All right, so with respect to our water resources on the hill, when I came on board, my desire was that we could increase our water resources so that we weren't having to go to these constant drought and restrictions and higher rates for conservation. And then when we get to stage 3, you can't do any outside watering, and that was, so that's been my long-term goal, is to see increased water here. What is particularly difficult is, as Tom has mentioned, we are isolated. The only water we get comes from the sky. There's no backup. There's no other way. The only backup is you're gonna have to hire somebody to bring up potable water and somehow put it into your home.
Fix the wells that are broken.
We're doing that.
Really?
And then the other thing we find is we are in what they call fractured rock, and we're in granite, which is, the state has told us, is the most problematic and most difficult water resources to manage. Fractured rock. We got a wonderful picture of what this means when Tom had, in preparation for the rehabilitation of a number of wells, we actually sent a
Portion you don't use, thank you so much. But when you're using 1 inch, you got more water, free water. You need to
Well, they
understand.
don't, it's not.
I'm so sorry, sir.
My
It's
bill's
required
not
for
based
the
on
fire
volume.
department. Is required for fire department to have 1 inch. Any new house in the area required to have 1 inch. So
But
it's
it-
required.
But I shouldn't be charged for having a larger diameter pipe than my next door neighbor.
You can only put so much water through
I
that
can
sink
only use so
and
much water.
bathtub and toilet.
The 1-inch meter can use a lot more water than a 5/8.
But you're trying to do
But I don't use it, I just, you know, I mean,
So for how many?
I
of
don't
these-
irrigate.
Wait a minute, wait. So how many of these 1-inch meters do we have for fire sprinklers?
I don't know off the top of my head, I'd have to look it up. No, there's a fair amount.
What we'd have to do, if the board wanted to do that, we'd have to entirely revisit our rate structure.
no, just for the 1 inch
No,
line.
we have to do our whole rate structure, because our rates are supposed to be based on cost to serve, and we could do that. Last time we did one was several years ago. We could do another rate study and look at, this 1-inch fire thing and see if that should have a different rate.
Which should be based on volume.
But our rates are the way they are.
Why?
We have to change it, okay?
And actually, most of the water districts, if you can go for water district website, you find they have 5/8, 3/4. I don't live in the area, I live in Eastern Valley Water District in Redland, and they have different rate, 5/8 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch. They have this requirement.
So what you're telling me, when I do my dishes with a 1 inch line, I'm using more
I
water.
promise you, I need you to get 5/8 inch, but fire department right now, they require every house, new house, the people got a new meter from now
Well,
on.
then charge everybody
Sir,
$83.
Let me explain this. Let me explain.
We got your point.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Yes, we do. We understand your point. In order to address it, we'd have to do a rate structure over again.
I just have one.
And then, want me to reopen public comments?
Well, I just want, well, I would just like to just add a short thing. The only, just so that you understand, the meter costs a little more than the 5/8, and from the main to the meter is a 1-inch line, so there's a difference in the installation fee, which you're apparently willing to pay for, but after that, it's just a matter of usage, volume-wise, getting number of gallons and.
That's the point I'm trying to
Yeah.
make.
Why-
It goes back to
Okay,
volume,
all
not.
right. We got a rate structure. And in order to change it to benefit you and anybody else that's in a similar situation, we're gonna have to look at our rates, have a public hearing, and maybe even a vote, all right? And our rates need to be revisited anyhow because of the court case that says it really has to be totally based on cost. And that has started, and we're looking forward to seeing what the cost of production is, so that what we charge you is only based on our cost. And that's your point, is why are you charging me more than it costs for us to produce that water? And that's what we'd have to find out. And
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Mr.
And
Cook, you didn't answer my question yet about the
you didn't
results
give
of
me
the
a
closed
chance, sir.
session.
You didn't give me a chance. Oh, closed session? No, you
Yes.
didn't ask the question.
No, I
Jack
didn't.
asked the question.
You didn't listen, I did ask.
You didn't answer my question about domiciles.
Domicile?
Created.
My domicile is in the Idlewild Water District.
That's half the question.
Yeah, it is
Mine
the
is
question.
also. And it's public comments to begin with, not questions.
Yeah,
Well, you said that you're gonna answer the question.
okay.
He did, I didn't.
I said I would. Okay. Does any other director wish to make a comment about the issues raised so far?
I would, I mean, just so, so you understand a little bit better, maybe you already do, I don't know. But, we have how we charge for the different size lines that come to your house. Unfortunately, the law changed, and they said, you have to do this. It wasn't our choice. I mean, if the sprinkler system thing didn't come in, you wouldn't have anything to complain about. But they changed the law, so
Yeah,
we
but
have to
why-
change ours if it's needed
Okay,
to
so
be
why
done.
did you raise it up from $29 to $83 and not based on that's the whole key here. It's based on, it should be based on volume.
Yeah, we got that. We understand.
Well, I don't think Mr. Freitas has it. He has the
Well,
idea
no,
that, I pay
You're
for my meter.
You're interrupting. You had several opportunities. Mike, did you want to finish your statement?
No, I guess I'm not getting through.
Okay.
I'm not either.
Okay. Steve?
I would like to, in the future, yeah, look at the rate structure, and, see if that can be changed.
Yes.
Because at one time it was for a certain reason, now it's, times are different.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a requirement, and I think on the assessments, some of you are probably, customers, you have vacant land, and this assessment is your personal obligation. So I'd like you, when you comment, state that, you know, this is your assessment and what parcel it is. Some of you may be just, interested in the issue for all kinds of other reasons. It's not your obligation, but for some reason, you believe it important. Whether this fee would be higher or lower, I don't know what, but we'll find out. So, public hearing is open, and I see I have a call from Mr. Vic Sirkin.
I have been a Realtor for over 30 years, and I have been providing assistance in protecting my clients' private property rights for all that time. I'm very proud of how I've done it. And I just wonder how you all can sit there and collect a standby fee for water or sewer with no intention of providing water service to these properties. I think it's absolutely out of control to even consider collecting that money with no way that you intend to provide that service. That is my comment. I don't know how you guys can live with yourselves.
Here. Okay, thank you.
Here.
All right, so, anyone else want to address the assessment? March, okay.
I'd like to.
Yeah, come on up.
Step right up there, Mark. Step right up there.
You want a steps?
That's because I'm short, nobody can ever see me. So we can hear you. Okay. I've been communicating with the water district for some time right now. Now, I have some letters back from the manager who have helped me to see a little more clearly that it's gonna be a long time before we get any water meters. As the manager said, the lake is dry, okay? I have a letter in here that the last meter, I didn't know, Mr. Thompson, that you got it. I think the one before you was the Art Academy. And they don't give water meters anymore, they give EDUs, equivalent dwelling units, which one equivalent dwelling unit is 14 plumbing fixtures. So if they give 10, as they do in stage 1, you've already given them, then get one EDU, that means you can put one bathroom in your house. So if you have a 2-bathroom house, you have to ask for 2, which you think you're getting 2 meters, but you're not, you're getting 2 EDUs. So they're actually controlling in a way how many EDUs, how many bathrooms, et cetera. So this is totally off the wall and totally, I think, is wrong. I don't know how they correct it with it, as Mr. Cook says, that we have to have, people have to talk, okay. The other thing is, our campus got 4.6 EDUs. That's enough for three houses have with 2.5 baths, okay? So how do the EDUs, so they're not water meters? And they're gone anyway, and my letter that I had from the manager on May 2nd says there are no more EDUs. So then I went to ordinance 64, And it says, and they passed this not too long ago, the general manager may declare no stage, which means not stage one, not stage two, not stage three, but whoa, we're back to being normal. When the Foster Lake is full, how many of you know where Foster Lake is and how big it is? The wells are above 50, downtown wells are above 15 feet, what I know what that means, and the average rainfall, average, is 26 inches a year. Average, it doesn't say over how many years. 26 years, we've had 25 inches the last 2 years, okay? And the storage tanks recharge to 95% of their capacity. Okay, so you know that you're probably not gonna get a meter until the lake is full. Now, he said he might make some conditions. What are those conditions? Well, we might get some wells. Okay, so let's look at the budget. Their budget this year is $3,157,625. And in that budget, there's $2,045,217 for reclaimed water. There's $225,000 to work on some wells. $2 million for reclaim, $225,000 for wells. And in this page, there's no new wells. So I decided I'd look at page 2 and see if there was something there. And my golly, we've added $100,000.
Marge, I've just got 1 minute left, so.
I'm not doing 4 minutes. This is a hearing.
No.
This is not public comment, and I will not, no.
4 minutes.
I'm sorry, you cannot do that in
4
a
minutes,
public
Marge.
hearing.
Yes,
I'll-
it can be.
No.
Yes.
She's taking her time.
So anyway, they have $100,000 for a well, so that's one well. There's a well that can produce 60 gallons a minute right below La Casita. But the man won't sell it to the water district because he doesn't like them. But if somebody can get the property to be purchased, that man said then they can sell the well to the district. Okay, so then you go on further, and I will read you something.
Do you have the last
No,
point you made?
no, you're gonna have a, excuse me.
No.
You can have my format.
No, I don't
Yeah,
need
she
it.
can
Wait, you guys need to listen.
I don't
Let her talk.
I don't need it because I challenged this a public hearing. Did you send a notice to every property that's being heard tonight? Did everybody that has a vacant lot get a notice that there was a hearing?
No.
Did anybody get one?
Isn't that a requirement?
Yes. Yes.
Under the law, Mr. Cook, 31032.2, the water code, 31020 to 31035, it reads, and I will read this for all of you. The secretary shall cause notice of the filing of a report and the time and place of hearing therein to be published pursuant to section 6066 of the government code prior to the date set for the hearing, in a newspaper, a general circulation within the district, and if there's not one, then in the county. They did that. There's a word here that says and. Shall cause a notice in writing to the filing of the report to be mailed to each person whose parcel is being assessed. That wasn't done, so you can't have a public hearing because you haven't properly noticed this. Now you can decide to go on, but your public hearing would be null and void.
Thank you for your comments. So, Tom, I'd like to ask you a question about the noticing. What is required by law and what was done, so.
Yeah, it was noticed in the paper, it was noticed well in advance. This is the way the district has undertaken notification on an annual basis, and we have reviewed the matter with.
He's lying to you.
And what?
And the process that we've been using has been approved by our district attorney.
That we don't have to mail to individual property owners.
Correct.
That's the firm.
He's wrong.
Being charged with violation.
Before I can vote on it, I wanna see the writing.
Here is the publication. And I wrote it. This is the code, here's what I read, that's the law.
So Marge is citing
I'm not saying it, the public right code says.
a water code
State
section.
of California saying it.
live around here to read the
I
local
agree.
paper, you know, that's
So
not.
we'll take this issue under
People don't
advisement.
live on vacant parcels, so they're somewhere else.
Please, please.
That's a good point.
So we'll take this question under advisement and, before we actually vote on this, we'll have our legal counsel, give us a written opinion that whether we had to mail it to individual owners or just do it in the newspaper. So we'll continue with the hearing and we're gonna find out the answer that was raised. Did we properly notice? If we didn't properly notice, then we'll have to cancel this and redo it if there's still time.
Then I
Okay,
should
anyone
twice.
else wanna speak, on the assessments?
I'd like to second Mr. Serkin.
Yes?
My dear lady and I, we paid $40,000 for half an acre.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what's your
We
name, by
paid-
the way?
Brian Goodhead.
Okay.
This is my wife, Lorraine.
As of Saturday, we're here on our honeymoon.
Thank
Oh,
you
to be
very
here.
much.
Congratulations.
And Vi-
Oh.
Thank you. Appreciate you not suspended writ of habeas corpus here. I'm very irritated about this because
Okay.
we were denied a water meter. We agreed to pay Jim Marsh, our dear friend, $12,000 to draw up plans. I thought we got a will serve letter and suddenly we were denied a water meter. And Mr. Lynch very kindly explained the situation to us, but you're denying us the right to bill. How dare you ask for $30 a year?
Amen.
I know it's just $30, it's the principle. I mean, who thought of this? George Soros? Ben Bernanke? Whose idea was that? Thank you for letting me share.
So you bought Bill?
Yes, and we're denied the right to bill, so
Okay.
I just don't think it's right. I think it's
We're
extortion.
not benefiting
It's
at all.
extortion. We're not
benefiting, and now you're gonna charge us and penalize us for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to comment, if it's a
Wait,
standby.
wait, I have to clear this one.
No, I won't need 4 minutes.
This is
No.
not counted in a
If it's a
public hearing.
standby fee, then I'd gladly pay it. I just wanna know I can get a meter. I have a vacant lot, I wanna build on it. That's all. I mean, it's not, you know, I wanna build a little house, I wanna, you know,
Okay.
I wanna, if I'm gonna pay to stand by, then when it's time to build, I wanna know that I can build it. That's all.
All right. So you still got 4 minutes.
Okay, I-
How about that? All right, back to,
My name's Larry Bischoff. I was their agent. I
Thank
came
you,
and I
Larry.
got a will serve letter. They
Yeah.
not only spent $40,000 for the lot and then invested in it and were getting building permits when their meter was denied. They had the right to get a meter and were told they couldn't because the rules had changed. They're invested in this property. If their property, which they paid for and worked really hard, because I watched them over 4 years try and get enough money to make those blueprints made.
Here, here.
This is crazy. I'm almost
You said the
speechless.
rules changed, what rules changed?
Well, when they came in, they were told they could not get a meter, even with the will serve letter, because things had changed.
What?
Whatever.
That's a
No,
good
I-
question.
That's what their question,
Your
ask
job.
them. I mean, it's wrong.
Yeah, what
And-
changed?
and
I mean, it's a different setup than what we had before, something all of a sudden completely changed. Or is
Yes,
it the same
apparently.
rules we went by?
That's
All
not,
that time.
then why can't they have a meter? They have a will serve letter. Why can't they have a meter? They've worked hard for this
You don't
land.
need to know that.
Basically, it's useless now.
Is it
They-
dated? Is it dated, your will serve?
Is it
letter?
what?
Does it have a date on it?
Does it have a date on it?
I don't know, we have to.
We have to get into the file. We have to get into the file and find it.
Seems reasonable.
okay, so,
The bottom line is, people have worked hard for these lots, and because of this, the lots are worthless. We can't sell them in Idlewild.
You can't
The
build
people
on it.
that can't build on them, the people that own them have nothing, except a piece of dirt to picnic on. That wasn't the intent that this couple had. This is a
Thank you,
true
Larry.
life story here in town.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you.
okay, so there's 2 issues. And we'll have to address them separately. One is, why did you get a will serve letter and not a meter? I mean, that.
They didn't have the money yet. They were still.
Okay, so we'll have to get an answer to that. We'll understand, it's like, how did that happen? If there was some change or something, what happened, so that we understand, because once you get that will serve letter, you counted on it, and.
Yes.
And you went to those plans, and I understand that, it's important. The other one is you feel that since you can't get a connection, you shouldn't have to pay a standby assessment.
That's correct.
And you're adding to other testimony we heard it from Marge among others.
Give me your 4 minutes.
So we're gonna go to Jeff back in the back.
All right, this situation is being created because of the appearance of a lack of water resource. And the money that would come from the will-serve letters is designed to manage and maintain the district operations properly. I know for a fact that there are 3 wells sitting down in Dutch Flat that you have effectively abandoned and not maintained, high-volume wells. Your study for the treatment plant offers alternatives. One of the alternatives says 3 wells will produce enough water to replace what the treatment plant would give you. So my question is, why is it that you artificially create the situation, the money coming from the assessment fees, not properly maintaining the existing infrastructure? And those are 3. You've got a lot. You mismanaged well easements that you effectively lost. You have mismanaged the Dutch Flat wells. These 3 wells are on Dutch Flat. You built a high-tech facility for those 3 for your water production up there to manage those wells, to manage that water supply. But you refuse because it's a shared operation there. Those 3 wells are jointly owned with Pine Cove Water, and you have abandoned them. You are not serving the members of this community by properly managing and maintaining your resources. And that's just 3. There's probably a dozen or so resources or wells that you have mismanaged in this community. So this is not about drought or fractured granite. This is about your mismanagement of the existing infrastructure within this community. And as far as Foster Lake is concerned, Jim Billman sat and publicly stated for the record that this water is going to Foster Lake. Your statements that it's not going to Foster Lake is a stunt. Because I've seen the failed CEQA document, why you had to change your document and say, oh, we're gonna take it to the foot of Foster Lake. But what are you gonna do at the foot of Foster Lake? You have no device by which to store this amount of water. None, except Foster Lake. And that is a fractured granite. You mentioned fractured granite. The entire water system of Lily and Bear Trap will be impacted, along with hydraulically down gradient wells and groundwater systems. You're looking for a fight that you probably already acquired. You are mismanaging existing district resources. I'd like an answer to that question, why those wells aren't being used. And if I hear about iron and manganese, you build a state-of-the-art iron and manganese plant up there for that purpose. You spent this district resources, actually not this board, prior boards in terms of their vision, spent resources to build out that facility and to provide adequate water resources. You are mismanaging the existing resources of this district, and you're making the members of this community pay a price. I don't live in Ironwood, I live in Pine Cove. I happen to be one of the people that are gonna be dealing with the downstream effects of this treated water in our aquifer.
Mr. Cook, you said my 4 minutes were up, but I would like to say to you, you did not set the parameters for the public hearing, including here, we only had 4 minutes. The public hearing is different than public comment. So I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that you did not define. No, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna call for other people first, because everyone wants an opportunity.
Well, I just want to say to
You've already
you,
gone up and spoken.
I didn't use my 4 minutes. I'm sorry, I have something else I need
Use all
to.
your 4 minutes.
I didn't have, you did not define 4 minutes, Mr.
Let's see what
Cook.
happens, let's see what other
I'll find,
testimony
anybody else
is.
wanna talk? I'll wait.
Do we have other testimony? On the assessment.
Because this is an assessment
Okay.
hearing, nothing else.
Let's see if
Okay.
somebody else has an opportunity wants to speak. Anybody else want to speak about the standby assessment?
Can we change the subject?
This is a.
No, this is the public hearing on the assessment.
No, I just want to change the subject to the faulty meters and touch read.
That would have
Can we
been
do that?
beginning of the meeting.
It fits within the assessment.
I'm sorry, I apologize I was late. I was making sure my water was.
Because we're on the assessment.
The assessment fee covers the purchase of faulty meters and
Well, I just wanted to
proper
change
maintenance
the,
of meters. It fits within the
ask for the-
concept.
All right, so if there's no one else wants to speak on the public hearing,
You're not gonna let him speak to the fact
I'll
of,
speak to, and I'd like
I
to.
want to give
you're deciding what is a proper
Marge an
conversation.
opportunity to conclude your statement, okay?
Yes, because I am representing, and I will give you the APN numbers, 565 300001, 12 acres out by the dump. 12 acres, 360, this year it's gonna cost them. 563-300-012, that's my lot. I own that lot, it's in the sewer district, it cost me $60, okay? 561-142-005, in the sewer district, no meter, no sewer hookup. 557-212-011, these people have been trying to sell this lot for a long time, and there's somebody waiting to buy it, no meter, gonna just sit there. 565-232-003, they gave up. The one that's on 557-212-011, actually, those people put their house, their lot on the market because their mother was ill. And they put it on to sell, to take care of her in rehab. She's passed away. Now they're trying to pay the cost of paying for her to be in rehab. It's really not fair. Some people would take a gamble. But the other thing I'd like to point out to all of you here, when he said that they're in control of your land, you cannot get a water meter unless you build on your property. Did you know that? The only way you can get a water meter is to improve it.
To
If
have
you
a
want to
permit.
plant one tree on your lot and have a meter to water that one tree, forget it. You will never get a water meter unless they change the ordinance. So while you're here, think about that. You have a nice motor home, you have a nice lot, you want to drive up on it and have a picnic, you want to plant a tree in honor of your mother, father, or your kids, or you want to just have a plain picnic, you can't do that because you'll have no water. Bring it with you, it's okay, put your water in. But this is not right. You bought that land with the intent of enjoyment, especially on this mountain, and being told you can't use it unless you build. They don't want us to build because we use water. So sell 50 water meters at $5,000 a piece, and you have $250,000 and go out and drill maybe 2 wells. Let's be practical. It's not everybody's going around. And I'll tell you what else. This water district has sold 25 meters in the last 10 years. Pine Cove, I think, issued 8 in the last 10 years. Fern Valley did 7 in the last 5 years. We're experience about 4 houses a year building boom on the mountain. It's not an economic thing, you can't figure it out. There is no building boom, okay? So let's start looking at reality instead of running around saying, can't, you can't, you can't. Yes, we can. Let's make this thing reasonable, make it work for everybody. Thank you.
This management of the assessment fee fits within the context of faulty meters.
Yeah, you did. Okay, so I'm gonna close the public hearing.
I wish you make comments.
Actually, no, I'm gonna continue the public hearing.
To allow continued development when there's a question of whether or not we can adequately serve the customers that we would be providing meters to. Providing a meter is a commitment by this district to provide water service. And while I respect the fact that people are looking out for their economic interests in terms of the value of their property, I think we also have to be concerned that handing out a lot of meters may place constraints on all existing customers because we may be forced to move into a further stage of conservation beyond the stage 2 that we're presently in by accelerating it because we've allocated more meters. So please keep that in mind that there's an equity issue here. Do we continue to supply water for all of our existing customers? Or do we put them at risk for the benefit of a few more that would like to have meters? Just something to think about.
Don't mismanage
I'm not going to
existing
try.
resources.
I'm not going to try to elaborate on that. It's just the big picture issue that any water district has to be concerned about. And to that extent, if any individual wants to come in to look at the condition of their meters, their bills, they're welcome to do so during our normal business hours. That's all I have to say at that point.